University mathematician decodes the crop circle with a binary code and extraterrestrial face. By Steve McCamley. Did you know that crop circles are actually real? How they're made or who or what is making them is up for debate, but the existence of intricate, remarkable, and very complex designs that are sewn, quote-unquote, into the crop fields are all around the world, and it's a fact that's not open for debate. And looking at some of these designs, especially the footage taken from a plane or a helicopter, should give you the goosebumps. Why? Richard Taylor, a physicist from the University of Oregon, outlines it best. Despite ridiculing any type of supernatural explanation for these designs, he states that this is the most science-oriented art movement in history. It's also interesting to note that many of these designs have been studied in a laboratory setting, as some of the nodes of these stalks are blasted out on one side for some reason. Not many people know this about crop circles, but the crops are not simply flattened. It's quite clear that some sort of high-level technology is being used. This blasting effect has been replicated by highly localized microwave heating, which causes water inside the crop to vaporize and dislodge. As a result, the stalk flops completely over to one side. And because of this, Taylor concludes that crop circles artists are using GPS devices, lasers, and microwaves to create these astonishing patterns of geometric forms due to the measurements he found in his research. There will always be those who reject some sort of supernatural hypothesis, but for those who actually look deeper into the crop circle phenomenon, it's hard to argue that something strange is not happening. Personally, I wouldn't say it's obvious. The crop circle, you see, appeared in 2002 in a field near Crabwood, United Kingdom. Yes, it was real. It's been filmed, documented, and photographed. There's footage all over the internet, and it made a lot of noise as it's documented in the crop circle archives and has been researched by multiple scholars all over the world. There are some great helicopter footage of Crabwood Circle in Terji Toffets, an award-winning Norwegian filmmaker and video producer. Also some astonishing helicopter footage taken by the photographer of the photos, by Lucy Pringle that we have here. All these are her photos. And you can see people standing in the crop circle, and it's quite detailed footage. Now, who could do something like this? Who could design a binary code and implant a face within a crop in the dead of night in only a few hours, leaving no entrance or exit marks while being artistically and mathematically precise? Mia Pitkonen is one of many scholars who have examined this particular circle. She's a physicist from the University of Helsinki in Finland. She specializes in medical physics. And there's a link here to her curriculum vitae, how credible she is. Clearly, she has an interest in this phenomenon because she published a paper titled Crop Circles and Life at Parallel Space-Time Sheets. It's a two-part series, and in it he examines the Crabwood crop circle of England. And she explains, Crabwood message consists of two parts, an alien picture and a picture representing spiral-like bit sequence starting from the center of the picture and proceeding counterclockwise. It has been proposed, 59 to 60, that the message is coded using 9-bit code and that 8-bit portions obey ASC2 code. With this assumption, this is what the message reads. Beware the bearers of false gifts and their broken promises. Much pain, but still time. EELI. UVE. There is good out there. We oppose deception. Conduit closing. Obviously, there are one or two incomprehensible words involving EELI exclamation mark UVE. What does that mean? There are also two variants of the message on the net. Oppose appears as Paul Vagi's homepage and oppose at the Martin Kittle's homepage. In the following, both options are considered. One could consider the possibility that the message has a much deeper layer than the somewhat oracle-like statement in ASCII code, and that the presence of the little inconsistency might be intended to make clear that a deeper level is involved. What these aliens would like to communicate is something very essential about themselves as a life form. The image of an alien accompanying the bit sequence indeed suggests this. This something very essential could obviously include the code for translating ordinary DNA triplets into amino acids. Perhaps also the code for translating the exotic RNA doublets to the analogs of amino acids. These analogs could be even electromagnetic waves. There could be also other codes. Just at the time when the Crabwood message had arrived, I developed an entire hierarchy of cognitive codes based on Mersenne primes and regular polygons, constructively using only compass and ruler. The first guess is that the message would be represented by some universal code. The appearance of 3 times 3 equals 9-bit code, 3 times 3 equals 9-bit code words decomposing naturally to 3 sequences of 3 bits suggests that a cognitive code consistent with genetic code might be involved. This guess was very useful in that it led to identification of the genetic code of exotic RNA, and the decomposition of 3 bit portions also suggests immediately that information about RNA is in question. It, however, turned out that ASCII code is the proper manner to interpret the message. 9th bit serves as a separation sign only. The interpretation relies on extremely general aspects of the ASCII code. Capital and small letters correspond to amino acids, and capital and small forms of a given letter denote for the same amino acid. Control signs denote the amino acidic counterparts for the code associated with the exotic RNA. The ordering of the symbols does not matter. One could also use different kinds of symbols. Only the numbers of various kinds of symbols telling how many code words are mapped to a particular amino acid or whatever counterpart of it matter. It's quite complicated, I know. Paul Vigay, a British computer consultant, notable for work in developing and supporting RISC OS software, and a longtime researcher in the field, was the first to discover that the message was encoded in ASCII binary code. He also worked with Mel Gibson on the film Signs, but unfortunately died a very mysterious death. Quote, "Beware the bearers of false flags and their broken promises, much pain but still time. Damaged word. There is good out there." End quote. We oppose, not end quote. We oppose deception, conduit closing, bell sound, end quote. Below is another great screenshot taken by a helicopter. All right, we see the alien face with of course, the disc again. Yes, and Pictonen's paper is quite in-depth and states that the markers of this circle, whoever and whatever they are, could be using this type of specific code and much more. One thing is for certain, whoever made this circle is extremely artistic, technologically and mathematically advanced to a point beyond belief. And below is a screenshot of the last part of her paper, expressing the same conclusion that many of us have come to, the realization that something amazing is going on there. And this is what it says. Acknowledgements. I want to express my gratitude for several persons, in particular for Tapani Kuvula for encouraging me to take seriously UFOs and ETs, and for interesting suggestions, in particular for stimulating the idea that the tectonic energy could serve as a food for plasmoid-like life forms. Martin Keetle for helping me to realize that crop circles are real and telling about the Chibolton and Crabwood crop circles, as well as for the concrete help, and for Tony Sira for providing material ahead related to UFOs and for interesting email exchanges. I want to thank Juka Kinunen for 2 champagne bottles. Okay, and I hope that I will sooner or later invent the means of establishing communication with aliens, the 3rd bottle of champagne. I would also want to thank the ITs responsible for their charming Chilbolton and Crabwood crop formations. ITs, I think she wanted to say ETs. If I only knew their names. As an underground intellectual myself, I hope that amplitude modulation microwaves or whatever from my computer could mediate my deep gratitude and warm greetings to this underground intelligentsia. And that's what it said. Now, Pictonen in her paper also goes into great detail, an analysis regarding a broadcast known as the Arecibo message that was put together by Carl Sagan and his colleagues in 1974. It was sent into space via radio waves at a special ceremony to celebrate the remodeling of the Arecibo radio telescope in Puerto Rico. It was the most powerful broadcast ever deliberately beamed into space, directed at a star cluster sitting approximately 25,000 light years away. It consisted of a pictorial message depicting our planet's location in our solar system, the core principles of our math and science, and the NASA antenna used to transmit the signal in the hope that it would be interpreted by an extraterrestrial intelligence. The message also included details about human beings, such as our physical appearance and DNA code. The signal was 1,000,000 times stronger than the typical TV transmission. 27 years later, in 2001, the crop circle phenomenon gained some well-deserved attention when a pattern in the form of a response to the 1974 broadcast appeared right next to Britain's largest telescope, the Chilbolton, an observatory home to the world's largest fully steerable meteorological radar. The takeaway, the conclusion: why are such discoveries and phenomena ridiculed in the mainstream? And when the mainstream does engage in a discussion about the crop circle phenomenon, why do they address the facts presented in this article? Why are these considered to be hoaxes when some of the designs are so complicated, precise, and complex that they baffle some of the world's greatest minds? So what is going on here? There are facts about our reality that are so mind-altering, and the human mind, in many cases, will instantly dismiss them. On a collective level, clearly we are all not ready to examine this phenomenon, and no matter how much evidence is in support of it, it always is greeted with ridicule and skepticism. Something extraordinary is happening here, and it has been happening for years. It could have tremendous implications for humanity as we continue to slowly but surely open our minds to concepts that do not yet fit into the framework of accepted knowledge. This is by Arjun Walia for Collective Evolution, originally published, and it's been published here under Creative Commons. It's on Collective Spark by Steve McComley. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.